in the morning.
Radio Cayman.
For the record, proudly brought to you by
Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury, and JN Money.
From abroad to yard.
Fast, affordable, convenient. Doctor's Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctor's Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And Kirk Market. Experience a world of choice. And the Cayman Islands National Museum. Explore captivating exhibits and learn about our unique heritage and culture.
We ask our listeners and viewers to avoid any statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use indecent language or make any statement that is false or misleading. Call 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990. 949-8037 or WhatsApp us on 925-3261.
Live from Radio Cayman Studio.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you.
For the Record.
Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
With Orrett Connor.
Informative, impartial, insightful. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, O land of soft, fresh breezes and verdant trees. So fair. Today is the 23rd day of May 2025 right here in the beautiful Cayman Islands. We do hope and we trust that everyone had a restful, peaceful, enjoyable evening. Those of you who are on our roads, whether you're a pedestrian, a cyclist, or if you're operating any type of motorized vehicle, we urge you to please be extremely cautious. Ensure that you observe the rules of the road. Remember, the life you save may just be your own. For those of you celebrating a birthday today, we want to wish you a happy birthday, or if you've celebrated one over the past few days, a happy belated birthday. And later on in the show, we will be sharing more birthday shout-outs with you. Of course, those birthday shout-outs will be brought to you by Coca-Cola, who are proud to support your birthday shout-outs. Coca-Cola available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga wholesalers. You should accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola, and by Yum. Daily school lunch menus are available to browse on the Yum website. Just visit yumcayman.ky for more information. Like I said, later on in the show, we will be giving the birthday shout-outs, but we have an abbreviated opening salvo this morning, comments simply because we have a guest, very important guest in the studio with us this morning. No stranger to Radio Cayman, no stranger to the people of the Cayman Islands, none other than the Deputy Governor of the Cayman Islands, the Honorable Franz Manderson. DG, good morning, sir.
Morning,
welcome
Mr.
back
Connor.
to For the Record.
Good morning. Thank you very much for having me at short notice. Always a pleasure to be here and to spend time with you and to talk about the most topical issues that are facing our country. And today we're talking about the civil service, which is one of my favorite subjects in the world.
Of course. And you've been one for quite a long time, even
43 years.
Even during your school days.
That's correct, sir. Started as an intern. I've had a wonderful career in the civil service. It's been one of my very best decisions was to join the civil service. I had a pleasure working with you for many, many years. So it's been a wonderful ride, sir.
Yes, yeah. And you've seen it grow and grow. You've seen it develop, and not only seen it, but you have contributed to that in your capacity now as the head of the civil service as well. And thanks for all the good work that you and your team do as well.
Yeah, thank you, sir. And Mr. Connor should take some credit for where I am today. He was my supervisor, my leader for many, many years. We did a lot of great things together.
Yes.
Learned a lot from Mr. Connor. And, I keep saying to my civil servants, whether it is our new civil servants, I speak at our orientation day for new civil servants as often as I can. And I tell them, listen, I started in the civil service as a intern, and then I was an hourly paid worker making $5,000 a year. I thought that was a lot of money back then.
It was.
And here I am today as head of the civil service. And my main mission is to give as many Caymanians the same opportunities that I had. And I really try to focus on that every day, whether it is ensuring that Caymanians can be educated while they're in the civil service. In terms of the civil service college, you can now get, master's degrees from a civil service scholarship. You can do so many of your courses online, sitting at your desk. We have the International Leadership and Management course to make sure that civil servants have every opportunity to develop. We do secondments, we do acting appointments to give people opportunities, and to just continue to drive that Caymanian first mentality. We want a civil service that is led by Caymanians, and that we already have the vast majority are Caymanians. But we want to do everything possible to ensure that we are leading. And the one area, sir, that we were not leading in, which we're now going to be leading in, is term limits. That is the area that we put our hand up and said there was a regime in the private sector, but there was not that regime in the civil service. And today that's what we're here to talk about.
Excellent. And you mentioned all that's being done in the civil service. Can you speak briefly about the support that you get from the executive of the Civil Service Association as well? Yes,
so working very closely with the Civil Service Association, we do get together. They advocate whether it is for cost of living, whether it is for working conditions. They represent civil servants who are subject to disciplinary matters. So really a good partnership. And I want to, start by saying that I want to give sincere thanks to our Honorable Premier, Mr. Andre Ebanks, and his government. There has been, I think we're off to an excellent start, sir. The collaboration between the elected government and the civil service has never been better. Has never been better. And I am very proud that we have been able to achieve something that's history-making in a very short period of time and working collaboratively. So I want to, again, say publicly thank you to the Honorable Premier, Mr. Andre Ebanks, and his entire government for working collaboratively with the civil service and to getting us to where we are today.
And DG, I know you issued a press release yesterday, but separately, a communique was sent out to all civil servants, as well. So I want to give you an opportunity to address the press release, and then we can go more into more detail on the message to the civil service.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. So the message that was sent out to civil servants, first, we have a policy that anything that affects civil servants, they have to hear it first. So there was a press release that went out that said that earlier this week, Cabinet approved drafting instructions that for the very first time would issue drafting instructions to implement term limits in the civil service, and that would be for a change to the Public Service Management Act, which governs the employment conditions for civil servants. What that meant was that we would take a bill to Parliament. We're really hoping that we'll be able to do that at the first meeting of Parliament, and that the bill would be introduced, and once passed, then it would come into force on the 1st of January 2026. People have asked me, well, why 1st of January 2026? Well, first of all, we got to get the bill passed. And then there's going to be a lot of work that has to be done behind the scenes to ensure that we are prepared, because obviously we don't have a term limit regime in the civil service. The Department of Workforce Opportunities has all of that information. So we have to do a lot of work behind the scenes to make sure that there is good information systems that pass between our departments, so that if someone wants to know what is my term limit as a civil servant, we are able to provide that, and they don't have to call around to other government departments. So a lot of work behind the scenes to get us the systems, the processes, and also there's a sort of shock to the system. So we want to make sure that we do everything collaboratively. We have done a lot of consultation, Mr. Connor, from the time this issue came up last year. We did a lot of consultation. We did surveys with all our civil servants. We talked to the heads of departments and asked them questions around term limits. And I'll share some of that data with you here this morning. So what does this mean for the civil service? Well, first of all, certainly with my immigration background, we must accept that term limits has been around for the last 20 years.
Right.
20 years ago, we said that people should not be allowed to remain in our country sort of on an indefinite period of time without security of tenure. Mm-hmm. And term limits has put that one issue to bed, except in the civil service.
Right.
Secondly, we said that Caymanians were not getting some of the best jobs. There was not upward mobility for our people. And we believed that if we put in a term limit and churn somebody out, that could give a Caymanian an opportunity to get a job or be promoted. However, that was 20 years ago. And 20 years later, we're still saying those same things.
Precisely.
Everyone campaigned to say we need immigration reform. So I said to my team, well, if term limits does not automatically translate into better jobs or more jobs, well then why would I implement a immigration policy that's not very effective? It's very effective to bar people from living here indefinitely, but it doesn't do those other things.
Right.
So I challenged my team to come up with an enhanced term limit policy. So what we have come up with is, in addition to every civil servant on the 1st of January 2026 will have a term limit, both existing and new, is that we will designate certain jobs that can only be held by Caymanians. That is going to be, I think, a welcomed policy that will ensure that, for example, all our CBC officers, all our staff at WRC, our receptionists, our administrative officers, all the people that are on the front line, people are meeting Caymanians when they walk in. Now, the good news is that's the case now.
Yes, I was going to say that
yes.
Some departments have traditionally gone along that route.
That's right.
For example, immigration.
Exactly.
Customs.
Exactly.
Fire service.
Right, exactly.
Yes.
So we want to maintain that. We never want to lose that. So we will do that. And what we will do, Mr. Connor, is look around and say, what all the jobs are that are held by Caymanian and designate those. So that would be the easy part. What we then need to do is then look at the next tranche and says, okay, what are the next tranche of jobs that we want to designate? Because, again, we want it to be done fairly, and we don't want to do something that's going to help disrupt the system. So one of the areas people have said to me, DG, is our HR team should all be Caymanian, right? And I don't disagree with that, right? So those are then the occupations that we will start to look at and start to designate those things as Caymanians. So that, I think, is going to do the things that we want to happen 20 years ago. Secondly, is that it's obvious to me that the 1 year break doesn't work. So persons get to the end of their term limit in the civil service, they go away for the 1 year. Their employer said, don't worry, I'm just going to hold you a job for you for a year, and then they come back. Yeah. Or they go and work overseas for a year and come back. So that's not working. We don't think that that's going to be good for the civil service as well. So we will increase our break to 2 years.
Okay.
So it'll be a real break.
I'm going to pause you there, and when we come back, I would ask you, what implications does that policy decision have for the private sector as well, which has a 1 year break as well. So if we're looking to put everyone on par, should we expect a 2-year break in the private sector for work permits as well? Folks, the voice that you're hearing is that of the Deputy Governor, the Honorable Franz Manderson, is talking about the press release and the policy decision that has been taken to draft legislation in relation to term limits for civil servants. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series. Brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
Solomon McCherry Ebanks, 1901 through 1990. McCherry Ebanks grew up in West Bay and went to sea at 16. At the age of 26, he became a navigator and from then was known affectionately as Captain McCherry. During World War II, he risked his life and those of his crew to sail between Cayman and Tampa, bringing food and supplies to his countrymen. Captain McCherry was also a turtler, sailing regularly to the Mosquito Keys. When he retired from sea, he established a store in West Bay and became a farmer, raising cattle and ground provisions. He thus supplied the community with fresh beef, fruits and vegetables, and the basic necessities of life. He was married to Louise Editha Ebanks, and they had 8 children. He assisted many people in his community, including his nephews who were orphaned at a young age and raised by Captain McCherry and his wife. He was a man of foresight who saw the need to invest in his island, which he did by purchasing property. During his later years, the sale of some of the property enabled him to maintain an independent livelihood for his wife and himself.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Since 1993, Rotary Central has worked diligently each year to provide quality bus shelters to our community. A traveling convenience to our school children, the elderly, young people going to work, guest workers, and visitors using the public bus. We, Rotary Central, help you, our advertisers, make it happen. Your marketing dollar travels a far way. Positioning your message, your product, your services, your presence in over 83 bus shelters. Every dollar you spend, every advert you place helps to build another bus shelter, providing modest comfort for Cayman travelers. Reserve space now on the only billboard medium in the Cayman Islands. Email rotaryshelters@gmail.com. rotaryshelters@gmail.com. The Bus Shelters, a partner in community convenience. Another inspiration program by Rotary Central Cayman Islands.
Did you know that Doctors Hospital provides urgent care services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? And Doctors Hospital's urgent care physicians have access to the most advanced MRI and CT imaging in the Caribbean, providing reliable diagnostics when you need it most. When you need quality urgent care for an illness or injury, Doctors Hospital is here for you 24/7. Whether it's a migraine, chest or abdominal pain, shortness of breath, broken bones, or another urgent need, Doctors Hospital at the top of Walker's Road. Urgent care right now.
Can you imagine your home completely organized? At Brand Source Custom Closets, we can. We specialize in designing and building custom closets and storage units for any room in your home, including the garage. With tailored designs and custom LED lighting solutions to fit your lifestyle and budget. Our custom closets expert is committed to enhancing the value of your home with a solution that is uniquely yours. Visit our showroom or call 623-6774 to schedule a no-obligation appointment with our design expert. Brand Source Custom Closets, 209 Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
Hey Cayman parents, we get it. You're underslept, over-trafficked, you can barely find your sanity in the morning because you're still trying to find your kids' shoes and lunch boxes. Let Yum take some of the stress away. Every day, over 3,000 students enjoy delicious, nutritious meals from Yum. Over 5 million lunches served and counting. Private school parents, browse the Yum Cayman app and order up to a month in advance or last minute by 12 a.m. the night before. Government school students, just drop by the Yum canteen. No pre-orders needed. Yum can't help you find your sanity, but we can sure make your mornings just a bit easier. Check out daily menus at myschoolpos.com or visit yumcayman.ky to learn more.
Ready for some real magic this summer? Coca-Cola is giving your family the chance to win a trip to the happiest place on earth, Disney World, Orlando. Just buy any 8-pack of Coca-Cola or Sprite products at participating stores island-wide for your chance to make this summer even more magical. Imagine the laughter, the memories, the adventure, all with an ice-cold Coca-Cola in hand. Coca-Cola, real magic is just a sip away.
This is For the Record.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. It is my pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning the Honorable Franz Manderson, Deputy Governor of the Cayman Islands, and of course he has responsibility for the civil service. We're talking about the Cabinet of the Cayman Islands decision yesterday to approve the drafting instructions to introduce immigration term limits for non-Caymanians working within the civil service with an implementation date targeted for the 1st of January 2026. This decision follows extensive consultation of employers and employees within the civil service in 2024 and detailed statistical and policy analysis of the implications for such a policy. So, folks, you then need to understand that this wasn't a hasty decision that was made, as well. So, DG, back over to you. And I want to say to our listening and viewing audience that you're going to stay beyond the 8 o'clock news. We do have a guest, but that guest is extremely understanding. And we want you to be able to cover everything that you want to cover. And the question that I raised before we went off to our commercial break, you can answer that within the context of your discussion rather than, going off on a tangent so early.
Thank you, sir. So we talked about an enhanced term limit policy where the break in stay would be increased from 1 year to 2 years to ensure that there's a clean break, but also to designate certain jobs for Caymanians only. We will also amend the public service regulations to put in place, give appointing officers the ability to contractually require non-Caymanians to train Caymanians. Not saying just succession planning, but also have it as part of a contract. And we've had great wins in that area. So if you think, a few years ago, there was a non-Caymanian commissioner of police, there was a non-Caymanian director of prison, there was a non-Caymanian chief fire officer. All of those posts today are filled by Caymanians. Right. So we have had great examples of where non-Caymanians have come in, trained up Caymanians, and have left. And I remember one of those HODs leaving, and he was saying, DG, it's not very easy for me to leave. I really enjoyed it here. But I understand that I was brought here to develop Caymanians, and I feel very proud that I am developing, that I did develop Caymanians. So we have great successes of that. One of the recent successes was Her Excellency announcing recently that for the first time in the history of our islands, we have a Cayman Auditor General.
Yes.
So, Sue Winsper did what we've asked her to do, develop her team. But we believe that, yes, we've had those really great examples, but we want to make sure that it is consistent. And that when persons come in, we have the ability to say contractually, you are required to train Caymanians during your stay with us.
Question there, if I may, DG. We know that for the Regulation 6 that we have in work permit,
right,
the person is required for whom a Reg 6 has been issued,
right,
and the Caymanian who has been identified for that position, there's an agreement that is signed and also is required to have a training plan outlining, what will take place and when it is anticipated that change should take place as well. Should we expect similar in the civil service as well?
Absolutely, sir. So, yes, we've already have training and development plans that we put in place for our staff, but then we want to obviously enhance that now to make sure that there can be absolutely no miscommunication. You were brought here to train these particular individuals in this particular job, and after 5 years, that's it, or whatever the time frame it is. Sometimes it could be less.
Yes.
So yes, we see what's happening in the private sector, and we think we can do it a bit better. Our numbers are smaller. You asked numbers. I think it's probably a good time to sort of segue into it. Is that there are 37,000 non-Caymanians in the private sector. In the civil service, there is 1,400. It's a very, very small number. So we are the largest employer of Caymanians. We're proud of that. But we're also the largest employer of non-Caymanians. So we have to be aware of that as well. But of course, CIG employs only 4% of non-Caymanians within the workforce. 4%. Where we employ 15% of Caymanians in the workforce. So our numbers are good. But again, we are not going to rest on that. We want to continue to see how we can do things better.
Okay, folks, that's the voice of the Deputy Governor, Honorable Franz Manderson. He's going to remain with us after our 8 o'clock news. Don't change that dial. Please stay tuned because you will hear more about the government's decision to introduce immigration term limits for non-Caymanians working within the civil service. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
Studio time now is 7:59, brought to you with kind compliments of Foster's.
Hungry? Let's eat. Foster's Bay Market Cafe is now on the Let's Eat app. Blazing Asian, fresh off the wok. Dive into the rich, savory goodness of kimchi fried rice or a bold Thai red curry. Craving noodles? Pad Thai and ginger chow mein bring the perfect balance of flavor and texture. And for the ultimate comfort in a bowl, try our pork ramen. Slow simmered broth, tender pork, and perfectly chewy noodles. Spice, sizzle, and satisfaction in every bite. Let's eat. Foster's. Better flavors because we care.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. 3 men accused of smuggling drugs are headed to trial. Back in 2020, Brandon Liberal, Daniel Powery, and Charlton E. Banks were on a boat when it was intercepted by the Coast Guard near Northwest Point. They were arrested on suspicion of illegal landing and drug-related offenses. Authorities recovered 42 packages of ganja, almost 1,000 pounds worth, during the operation. Cabinet members in the National Coalition for Caymanians Administration officially started their weekly meetings. CIG TV's Lavita Thompson reports.
It has been less than 3 weeks since the new government has been sworn in, and government business has been top priority for the newly appointed cabinet under the leadership of Honourable Premier Andre Ebanks. The first official meeting of Cabinet took place Wednesday, May 21st, in the Government Administration Building. The meeting comes after a short orientation period for all ministers and parliamentary secretaries, including acclimating to their new ministry portfolios. A summary of the meeting will be made available in the coming days on gov.ky, where you can find all past Cabinet summaries and other news about the work of the Cayman Islands government.
It's Emergency Medical Services Week.
This job is very dynamic. No 2 days are the same.
Deputy EMS Manager David Wilson tells Radio Cayman his team has been out in force this week, meeting with members of the community to explain what EMS does and how critical the service is for the Cayman Islands.
Our entire complement is made up of 57 staff members, and that is across the platform of basic EMTs. We have advanced EMTs, we have paramedics, and we also have a section of our EMS service that provides non-emergency transport. So many of the most vulnerable persons within our community that need to be transported, whether it's to a doctor's visit, physiotherapy, blood works, dialysis, those types of things, they also fall under the EMS services as well.
Mr. Wilson says the non-emergency transport services are a COVID initiative that was so successful and now has 2 dedicated units that field about 20 calls a day. It goes without saying, the more EMTs the team has, the better, which is why the department is hosting an open house today.
We would like for any and all persons who may be interested in becoming an EMT or paramedic, or they're just interested in general, please come across to the hospital from 10 in the morning until 3 in the afternoon. And it's going to be located by the Hibiscus Conference Room.
For more information, you can head to hsa.ky/medical services. And Cayman Art Week events continue with Cayman Enterprise City hosting tonight's free digital art pop-up. The experience promises to be a, quote, immersive celebration of digital creativity, innovation, and Caymanian talent.
We have an awesome lineup of artists. We have Rudolph Johnson doing an installation piece on the wreck of the 10 Sails. Michael Mothen, also known as Banana Art Kid, who has a digital installation on Fisherman's Dreams. We have Dreddy, who's got an art display in the cafe, and Christy Anderson, who has a digital illustration collection that she'll be showcasing. We also have tons of information booths. We'll have Cayman-style games with Kerman Ebanks. We'll have a pop-up in the cafe where you can purchase refreshments and hang out and discuss art and technology with everyone.
CEC's Caitlin Elphinstone is encouraging everyone with a passion for art and or tech to join them tonight.
We also have live music with Cool Out star Madame Narosa, sponsored by NXT Law. And to wrap things up, we have a really cool panel discussion on AI, art, immersion, and tokenization. So again, that's with a broad range of panelists from the Cayman Islands, from Italy, from Malta. So tons going on.
So if you feel like avoiding another Netflix session on your couch, maybe swing by Signal House off Fairbanks Road. It all starts at 4 p.m. and runs through 8 o'clock. Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which takes us out of the newscast. I'm Karsley Fuller.
BBC News with Govinda Gill. The UN's warned of a worsening human rights situation in South Sudan as fighting intensifies between government forces and militias. Médecins Sans Frontières says tens of thousands of South Sudanese who fled to Ethiopia face a health catastrophe. Russia and Ukraine are reported to have begun a big prisoner exchange, the only concrete outcome of last week's peace talks in Istanbul. The two sides said they'd swap 1,000 prisoners of war each. Neither Moscow nor Kyiv has officially confirmed the start of exchanges. That's the latest BBC News.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
Now, more than ever, supporting your immune system is crucial to helping your body fight off illnesses like the common cold, the flu, and COVID-19. At ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road and in Buttontown, we carry all the essential vitamins and minerals to help support your immune system and improve your overall health. Some of our top immunity support picks are vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, elderberry, and quercetin are the popular 7-in-1 immunity support. Our pharmacists are always on hand to help guide you and answer any questions. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Buttontown. Live happy, live healthy with ValueMed Pharmacy.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman with the latest up-to-date, accurate news and information. For your convenience, the headline news will be repeated on our sister station, Breeze 105.3 FM, weekdays at 8:30 a.m. Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or download the Radio Cayman app in the App Store or log on to www.radiocayman.gov.ky and stay connected to what's happening in the community. Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Shipping to the Cayman Islands is fast, reliable, and seamless thanks to Cayman Airways Cargo. Need it faster than ocean freight? Cayman Airways Cargo offers multiple cargo flights to Grand Cayman from Miami weekly, so your packages, whether big, small, or in between, will arrive in no time. You can even use a Cayman Airways Cargo US address for your online shopping. Cayman Airways Cargo is also the only carrier providing air freight services for Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Contact us today and see why Cayman Airways Cargo was voted as Cayman's best cargo and logistics company in the Best of Cayman Awards. For details, visit CaymanAirways.com/cargo.
Social media, X, formerly Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Interact with our talk shows on YouTube. Download our official Radio Cayman app, or you can log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky. You can also add us to WhatsApp
on 925-3261.
All the latest information, breaking news, community events, and more. Radio Cayman. The 8 a.m. weather update, brought to you by
CG Britcay, where people come first.
Pleasant good morning. Let's take a look at the very latest weather report. Current temperature is 86 degrees. Relative humidity is 84%. The barometric pressure is 29.97 inches and rising. The wind is east at 9 knots. Overnight low temperature was 81 degrees. Synopsis indicate a weak ridge is supporting a slack pressure gradient across the northwest Caribbean. Light winds and slight seas are expected across the Cayman Islands over the next 24 hours. Radar images show a few showers mainly south of Grand Cayman moving towards the west. The forecast for the Cayman Islands for today calling for mainly sunny skies with a 30% chance of afternoon showers, and temperatures will rise to the low 90s with a heat index near 103 degrees Fahrenheit. It's going to be a very hot day. Winds will be east to southeast at 5 to 10 knots, and seas will be slight with wave heights of 1 to 3 feet. Tonight, expect mainly clear skies with a 20% chance of showers, and temperatures will dip to the low 80s tonight. Your winds will be easterly at 5 to 10 knots, and seas will be slight with wave heights of 1 to 3 feet. Low tide will be this afternoon at 12:47, high tide tonight at 7:29. The sun will set this evening at 6:55 and will rise tomorrow morning at 5:48. And the outlook is calling for continued light winds and seas over the next few days as the pressure gradient remains weak. Afternoon showers are possible due to the daytime heating. And that's the very latest on your weather report.
Mommy, why can't dogs talk? Why do I have to go to school and you don't? Why do you sing in the morning when you're bad at it? Why don't you brush your teeth when you take me to school? Why doesn't it ever snow here? Why does Daddy take the bus to work? Why are trees so tall? Why don't you tell me where babies come from? Mommy, Mommy, Mommy!
We're like a kid that doesn't ask a million questions before noon. CG Britcay. Good like that.
The 8 a.m. weather update, brought to you by
CG Britcay, where people come first.
Attention Northside and East End residents. The Department of Environmental Health Northside and East End Bulk Waste Collection will take place between May 26th to 30th. This bulk waste collection will replace the traditional year-end collection. Household appliances, furniture, and other items too large to be handled by the weekly DEH collection crews should be placed by the roadside, where it's easily accessible to the DEH's collection crews. Metals and vegetation should also be separated from other bulk bulk items. Do not obstruct the roadway or storm drains or place tires, construction, and demolition waste, hazardous materials, or electronics. For more information on the North Side and East End bulk waste collection from May 26th to 30th, please contact the DEH's Solid Waste Management Section at 949-6696.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
Good morning again. Let's check in on traffic. Further up on Shamrock Road, traffic flowing moderately. Further down, different stories. Traffic is steady as you approach the Linford Pearson Highway. Slow-moving traffic on Crew Road heading to Georgetown. Eastbound traffic on Crew Road is moving along swiftly. Godfrey Nixon Way and Eastern Avenue flowing at a good pace. Daily traffic heading towards the Georgetown area on the West Bay Road in front of the Ritz. As we look to the Esteli Tibbetts Highway, traffic is steady coming off of there and continuing on to North Sound Road. Expect some delays. Industrial Park area moving on moderately. Godfrey Nixon Way and Eastern Avenue, traffic flowing at a good pace. Coming off of Bobby Thompson Way is a little steady traffic, as well as off of Agnes Way. Now, if you've seen accidents or incidents, let us know by calling us at 949-6990. Owen Roberts Drive is flowing at a good pace. Join us again at about 10 minutes past 12 o'clock. We'll give you another look at traffic. Have a good morning and click it or ticket.
Hungry? Need Subway any time of the day?
Yeah.
We've got you covered. Subway at Anderson Square, Centennial Towers, and Countryside Shopping Village is open 24/7, serving up fresh, delicious subs anytime you need them. And for your weekend cravings, West Shore Center is also open 24 hours on Friday nights and until 1 a.m. on Saturdays, because it's never too late for a great meal. Skip the line and order ahead with the Subway Cayman Islands app, or get your favorites delivered straight to your door with Bento and Let's Eat. Fresh, fast, and always here when you need us. Subway, eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
You heard that the VEG program taking applications again? What that is? VEG, man! The Minister of Tourism's program that helping Caymanians create new tourism products and services.
Oh, I had heard about that, yeah. My friend was one of the successful applicants from the last round. I might apply for that still.
Nothing wrong, child. After you got great ideas for things tourists would love to buy, try so check out the website rcayman.ky/VEDGP for more information and apply.
I'm going to do that right now.
The 24th Annual Talent Exposition of the Arts, Joy, is here. Presented by the New Self-Help Foundation, Sunday, June 29th at the Hawkwill Theatre. Awesome performances by actress Caitlin Tyson, Erica Asai, Rico Rolando, Jade Dixon, Williams Quartet, Dequan Smith, UCCI Dance Company, Cayman Music School, Radiance Dance Studio, Centerpoint Dance Studio, John Gray Elite Strings, Lloyd Barker, Ola Jimmy LaPierre, and more. Tickets cost $15 CI prepaid and $20 at the gate, and available from the #1 shoe shop and Winners Circle Sports. Talent Exposition of the Arts, Joy, hosted by Anika Connolly and Lloyd Barker. June 29th at the Hawkwill Theatre. Gates open at 5 p.m. Show starts at 6 p.m. Part proceeds from this event to benefit the Foundation Educational Development Training Program of the Arts.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, the Honourable Franz Manderson, Deputy Governor of the Cayman Islands. We're talking about the decision yesterday, Wednesday, the 21st of May, of the Cabinet of the Cayman Islands government to approve drafting instructions to introduce immigration term limits for non-Caymanians working within the civil service, with an implementation date targeted for the 1st of January 2026. So we had a few questions in relation to this, DG. One had to do, person said, what about civil servants who have property, paying mortgages, married to Caymanians, have Caymanian children, but never got a chance to submit for their status? What will happen to them? And some people chose not to, submit their status as well.
So the term limits do not apply to persons married to Caymanians who have permanent residence. So they can put their mind to ease. Term limits would not apply in that case. There was also a question around what is drafting instructions, I believe.
Yes.
Basically, a law begins with drafting instructions. So a presentation is normally made to caucus concerning, for example, this piece of legislation. We would have made a presentation to caucus, made recommendations to the government on what the changes should look like, what is it that we're trying to achieve. The government would then agree, disagree as to what should be, what changes should be made. Then we would have a meeting of cabinet where the responsible minister, or in this case myself, would bring a paper to say, I'm seeking drafting instructions to create a law that says these things. That then goes over to our legal drafting department. They actually draft the law or the bill, which actually then comes back to cabinet, and cabinet then looks at it and says, yes, this is exactly what we want. Let's approve it. It then goes to Parliament. And then, there's also that public consultation period, 30 days between the bill being published before it's debated in Parliament.
Right. And then the other part of that question had to do with how would the new proposal impact Caymanian civil, non-Caymanian civil servants who have been in the service for, say, 6 or 7 years when the law comes into effect on the 1st of January.
So on the 1st of, thank you, Mr. Collins. So on the 1st of January, every civil servant, new and existing, will have a term limit. Whatever that term limit is in the private sector, they will have that term limit. So if the term limit is currently 9 years, then everyone on the 1st of January will have a 9-year term limit. During that time, they have to decide what is it that they want to do. Do they want to, for example, those persons, they can say, you know what, I would just like to work out my 9 years and go home. Others may decide, I want to make Cayman my home. They will then have an opportunity under the national rules for permanent residence to make an application for permanent residence. Not many civil servants at the moment apply for permanent residence, mainly because first they don't have to, but for most people they simply want to work for a period of time and go home. If you think that the cost of living is expensive for us, you think of a non-Caymanian who's here, who may have a property back home, paying rent or paying a mortgage. So a lot of people want to just work for a while and go home. So those will be the opportunities. And the reason, Mr. Connor, that we have to implement this policy so carefully is that the vast majority of the non-Caymanians in the civil service work in 4 departments.
Okay.
And we call them our Big Four. There's a Big Four accounting firm. We have a Big Four. And those are the Department of Education Services, which has, and I'm giving you 2024 numbers, 526 non-Caymanians. The vast majority are teachers. Royal Cayman Islands Police Force has 201. The Department of Children and Family Services has 68. And the Cayman Islands Prison Service has about 60. So those 4 departments basically have around 800 of the 1,400 civil servants. Those departments play critical roles in our country. The police deal with national security. The prison deal with national security. The people in our care homes that care for our grandmothers and grandfathers, they are an essential service. Caymanians don't apply for those roles. We just simply can't find Caymanians that want to do that type of role. And of course, we don't have 500 Cayman teachers. So we have to ensure that whatever we do does not compromise the government's ability to provide services. The non-Caymanians that we employ, they do a tremendous job for us, and they do jobs that some of our people do not want to do. So we have to ensure that we treat everyone fairly and respectfully, and I think that is what we're doing here today. I just want to say just a couple of things about the policy. So in addition to all the other things that we're doing, I talked about, we're going to strengthen the rules around employees in the private sector joining the civil service to avoid term limits. So there's been a talk around that, and we've built in some rules, but going forward now, we will sort of legislatively put things in place to say, for example, that if a person is working in the private sector and they get to year 8, for example, and they said, you know what, I don't really want to apply for PR, let me jump into the civil service, they will keep the same term limit. So your term limit will not change. If you go from the...
You take it with you wherever you go.
With you wherever you go.
Okay.
So there will be no sort of workaround. We have a sort of ironclad system. And the other thing, Mr. Connor, is that we will need, Her Excellency the Governor, Cabinet, will need myself some authority to do some exemptions. So first of all, we will have the mandate exempt the judiciary. We can't put term limit on judges because they have a ironclad contract that gives them permission to be a judge until I think they're 70 years old.
Yeah, they have a fixed retirement.
So we will have to exempt the members of our judiciary. They are a key pillar of our democracy, and the separation of powers means that we should exempt them from the term limit provision so that they can carry out their important role. Also, we want to give Cabinet the authority to, and again, this is Cabinet, no, this is not me or Her Excellency, the authority to exempt certain groups. So, for example, we have an excellent firearms unit in our SIP. If we're having difficulty recruiting or replacing those persons, we could ask Cabinet to give us an exemption, a short-term exemption, a long-term exemption, so that we don't lose the ability to go after our bad guys.
And what element of transparency will be placed within that?
That's a good question, Mr. Connor. Then Her Excellency the Governor, if she had one of her direct reports, the Auditor General, Cayman, and she wanted that person to stay on for a while to complete a case or do something, we could give that person an exemption for 2 years. Similar with me, as head of the civil service, there's a policeman who is in the middle of a murder trial. I would be able to give that person an exemption up to 2 years. But those exemptions must be made public.
Okay.
So we will publish those. So there will be no behind the doors decisions.
Yes.
We will make these things public. Yeah.
One question that we have again, person wanted to know what about those persons who are beyond 9 years already, but any non-Caymanian in the civil service is always on a fixed contract that is renewable. So whether or not they've been here for 9 years or not, the contract that they have, existing contract, would dictate what their term limit would be.
Yeah, Mr. Connor, the average, in our consultation, the average non-Caymanian civil servant works with us for 5.8 years, so 6 years. So that is a very important statistic because, people have this idea that, all 1,400 persons will end up applying for PR. That is definitely not the case. People work with us for, like I said, let's call it 6 years, and then they leave. Or we do not renew their contracts. Caymanian becomes available, we will then slot in a Caymanian into their role. We advertise on renewal of contracts. Some we can get an exemption, but for the most part, we advertise for renewal of contracts. So there's always, we have had sort of a 3-year, 2-year rollover in the civil service for years because we don't give non-Caymanians long-term contracts. A great example, Mr. Connor, is the historic appointment of our first Caymanian police helicopter pilot. That job that he took up was previously held by a non-Caymanian, but he is now, got that job after many years of service. We should all be proud of Mr. Arden McLean, 13 years of dedication, but he is now a proud member of the RCIP, proud civil servant, proud Caymanian. So we have these amazing wins where we have not renewed people's contracts. Caymanians have slotted into those roles, but we want to make sure that we're doing it at the highest level to make sure our people get the opportunities they deserve.
And of course, we have to take into consideration our Bill of Rights and Bill of Rights conditions as well.
Yes.
But could we safely say that since this responsibility falls under the governor, then delegated to you, also since the governor, at the end of the day, any legislation that comes forward has to assent to it.
That's correct.
That once it is legal, that it should have no problem being assented to?
That's correct. So Her Excellency was consulted on this, worked very closely with us, worked very closely with the elected government, because she has special responsibilities under the Constitution, under Section 55 of the Constitution. And you would have seen in the press release that she made it very clear that she did not believe that anything that we were doing here was going to impinge on her constitutional responsibilities.
Okay.
However, if we have decided, you know what, let's just roll over half our RCIP tomorrow, I think she'll be saying, I'm sorry, I'm not going to support that. That's going to impact our internal security. And folks, we have to take this serious. We have a highly capable RCIP that is keeping us safe. We are helping other jurisdictions at the moment because of the high level of crime. Anguilla. We've just sent some of our officers over there to assist. So we must be proud of the work of our police, the work of our prison, the work of our the many teachers that come here and impart knowledge to our children, the people working in our care homes, our brave prison officers. I recently honored one of our prison officers who ran into a burning cell to save prisoners. So we have some amazing people working in those departments and across the civil service. And we have an overriding responsibility to ensure that we treat them fairly, and also that we do not compromise our services to the public. Because, Mr. Connor, we have a monopoly on all our services. If you don't like your bank, you can go somewhere else. But when you call the police and they don't come, we don't know nobody else to call. When we send somebody to prison and there's nobody to guard them, there's nobody else to call. When you go to the passport office and you don't like the services that you get, there's nowhere else to go. So that is why we have put a lot of emphasis on smooth implementation, fair implementation, so that the public will continue to receive the high level of services that they deserve, while we are honoring national legislation and ensuring that there is now consistency between the civil service and the private sector.
Okay, we have one question here. Person wanted to know what we'll be doing to attract second and third generation Caymanians working abroad who may wish to come back to work. This will open up opportunities.
Absolutely,
for them as well.
yeah. I mean, we're getting that now. We're getting people coming into the civil service that have been overseas for quite some time. We're getting some amazing Caymanians coming in to the civil service from the private sector. At the orientation day yesterday, I was so pleased to see one of our young ladies. I'll give her a little shout out, Miss Disa Foster, the daughter of Mr. Wayne Foster, one of our amazing CBC officers. And she had been in the private sector for 20 years, but she has now come and joined us here in the civil service. And I'm so proud to see that we have so many of our Caymanian civils who are now joining the civil service. And that makes me very proud. So our job now, Mr. Connor, is to take it to another level. And we believe what we're doing now will absolutely achieve that. But we're doing it in a way that's not going to compromise the service to the public.
Okay, we're going to take a commercial break because I want to give you an opportunity for some closing comments as well. And another observation that I had in relation to the person who has reached the term limit time period within the civil service, non-Caymanian, who's eligible to apply for permanent residence. And we know in the private sector that we feel, and under the Immigration Act, that some people game the system in relation to making an application for permanent residence, knowing quite well that at the end of the day it's going to be rejected, and whether or not there will be provisions put in place there so that they're not allowed to game the system as well. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
Accidents and illnesses can strike without warning. Ouch! When it comes to urgent care, every second counts. At Doctors Hospital, we have a dedicated team of experienced doctors and nursing staff available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Don't waste time in an overcrowded emergency room when you need urgent care. Whether it's a broken bone, a severe infection, or a sudden illness, trust in Doctors Hospital's unwavering dedication to providing the best immediate care. For complete urgent care when you need it the most, choose Doctors Hospital, located in Georgetown, 16 Middle Road.
Shipping to the Cayman Islands is fast, reliable, and seamless thanks to Cayman Airways Cargo. Need it faster than ocean freight? Cayman Airways Cargo offers multiple cargo flights to Grand Cayman from Miami weekly, so your packages, whether big, small, or in between, will arrive in no time. You can even use a Cayman Airways Cargo US address for your online shopping. Cayman Airways Cargo is also the only carrier providing air freight services for Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Contact us today and see why Cayman Airways Cargo was voted as Cayman's best cargo and logistics company in the Best of Cayman Awards. For details, visit caymanairways.com/cargo.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
Cayman Art Week is back from Tuesday the 20th to Sunday the 25th of May. It's a fun-filled program of art events, pop-up exhibitions, open studios, and late opening hours at galleries and venues across all 3 Cayman Islands. Visit at your own pace or join one of our district bus tours with a new route added this year in Cayman Brac. All events are free and open to the public with art on sale for every budget. For all the latest, visit CaymanArtWeek.com.
This is For the Record.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We're on the last leg of this discussion with the Deputy Governor, Honorable Franz Manderson of the Cayman Islands. We want to give him an opportunity for some closing comments as well, and just to review what was said earlier, and then the question in relation to permanent residents, those non-Caymanians within the service,
right?
How that would work.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Connor. So this is why, Mr. Connor, we needed lead time, and we can't implement this immediately. Mm-hmm. So we have until the 1st of January, once the legislation is passed. It's because these are the exact things that we need to work out. We need to make sure that there's a mechanism between work and the civil service, that when a non-Caymanian applies for permanent residence and is denied, that we are notified, because then we would need to stop that employment contract to make sure that what's happening in the private sector is not necessarily happening in the civil service, where I don't think we'll ever be able to stop people from applying, but certainly once the work makes a decision, then we are able to affect that decision very, very swiftly. So it's those things that we really need to get worked out very carefully. But to wrap up, I want the public to know that we listen. So, my good friend, Mr. Mario Ebanks from the Society of Human Resource Professionals, I think he has been raising this for a while and saying, it should be done. We listened very carefully to the campaign. And it was very, very clear. I think everyone, every party, almost every independent candidate said this is something that was needed, and the public has said is needed. So we want to react, and I think we want why we wanted to react. We wanted to make sure that it was done in collaboration, that we knew exactly what was the data, that we had talked to our employees, that we want to make sure that they are that we hear their voice, and we have done that. Today I am meeting with our HO heads of departments, and tomorrow on Monday I'm having a town hall meeting with the entire civil service by Zoom to make sure that we impart this knowledge, this information, and we get feedback. Because we have to, like I said, value all of our civil servants, and they do an outstanding job for us, and it's very important that we live up to our mandate of being a caring employer. But again, I want to reassure the public that we are doing everything we can to ensure that Caymanians get the very best jobs in the civil service. And I am proud that I have appointed, I think, 8 chief officers. All are Caymanian. All their deputies are Caymanian. The majority of our HODs are Caymanian. I think there's over 90 positions, over 100 positions where 90% of them are all Caymanians. So we are doing some, really great things. But again, we're challenged. Let's keep doing it better. Let's keep doing it better. The Premier would want me to say, as was said last night, to stay tuned, because there is immigration reform coming for the private sector as well. So that is on the top of the agenda. Minister Michael Miles, I think, is very close to also asking for drafting instructions. I don't want to steal in their thunder, but I know people are saying, well, are some of the modifications that we have made in the civil service, is that now going to translate to the private sector? So I know the government is looking at those things very, very carefully. And again, I want to close by thanking the Honorable Premier and his government, Her Excellency the Governor, my entire team, for the collaborative approach that we have developed, and that has led to the implementation of this policy, the drafting instructions. And I'll be back on in another we have scheduled a time when we can take some calls. I do want to hear from the public, but today was about getting information out, and I think we have done that. So thank you very much.
I want to thank you as well, Deputy Governor, and all that you do for the civil service, as well, and the examples that you set. Folks, when we return, we will have a guest in the studio. Don't change that dial. Please stay tuned. Lots more to come on For the Record.
Shipping to the Cayman Islands is fast, reliable, and seamless thanks to Cayman Airways Cargo. Need it faster than ocean freight? Cayman Airways Cargo offers multiple cargo flights to Grand Cayman from Miami weekly, so your packages, whether big, small, or in between, will arrive in no time. You can even use a Cayman Airways Cargo US address for your online shopping. Cayman Airways Cargo is also the only carrier providing air freight services for Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Contact us today and see why Cayman Airways Cargo was voted as Cayman's best cargo and logistics company in the Best of Cayman Awards. For details, visit caymanairways.com/cargo.
Did you know that Doctors Hospital provides urgent care services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? And Doctors Hospital's urgent care physicians have access to the most advanced MRI and CT imaging in the Caribbean, providing reliable diagnostics when you need it most. When you need quality urgent care for an illness or injury, Doctors Hospital is here for you 24/7. Whether it's a migraine, chest or abdominal pain, shortness of breath, broken bones, or another urgent need, Doctors Hospital at the top of Walker's Road. Urgent care right now.
Your dream home starts with a vision, and often inspiration is at the heart of that vision. Brand Source Home Gallery's in-house designers are here to help bring your vision to life. Whether you're remodeling or building a new home, Brand Source Home Gallery is your one-stop solution. Explore their kitchen cabinets, sinks, faucets, bath fixtures, tubs, vanities, and more. Let Brand Source's designers help and inspire you with your next project. Call 623-5000 and schedule an appointment with a design expert at Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, serving Cayman for 50 years.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
On a daily basis, making it easy to connect with you, our listeners. Add us to WhatsApp today, 925-3261. That's 925-3261.
Radio Cayman.
Send a text or voice note.
Message us at 925-3261 on WhatsApp today and get active with Radio Cayman.
Radio Cayman,
the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. I want to thank the Deputy Governor. Lots of WhatsApp messages have come in, still coming in as well. Those that are pertinent and relevant, I have told the DG I will forward them on to him. You heard him say that he will be back on here because he wants to get an opportunity to take calls and answer questions as well. This appearance this morning was something that was done, very quickly because he wanted to ensure that the public knew exactly what was going on as well. And like he said earlier, he also sent communications out to all civil servants because he wanted them to hear about it first as well. And I have a copy of that, and at some point in time on For the Record, not today, we will share that information with you, because for the remainder of the show, we have Mr. Arden McLean in the studio with us. As you know, his name cropped up with the new appointments for the National Conservation Council. He was scheduled to come on earlier, but because of the impending litigation at that point in time, felt that it would not be prudent to do so, since to a certain extent he was part and parcel of that litigation, even though he himself was not, a defendant per se, but it's almost as if they made you a defendant or the scapegoat, whichever one it is. Anyway, you'll hear from him. Mr. McLean, good morning, sir. Welcome back to For the Record.
Good morning, O.C., and my name wasn't mentioned. My name was taken and dragged through the mud by the applicants who misrepresented my debate in Parliament. Now, this could take a two-pronged approach. One is I'm going to answer those who tried to damage my reputation and my integrity this morning. And I'm also going to deal with this new government that we are revering at this time, because in their first move, they have taken away something from the institution of cabinet by agreeing with the applicants to abort the court case that they brought. But what makes it worse, O.C., is that they took the country's money, the hard-earned money of the country, to pay the cost of Patricia Bradley and Stuart Mailer. And I don't know if the cabinet understands what they did and what the consequences of their actions will be for the future ability and authority of cabinet to make decisions, unfettered decisions, rightly or wrongly. But this government, which also includes Wayne Patton, seems
as a parliamentary secretary.
He's a member of parliament and a parliamentary secretary. So we lump in all of them in.
Okay.
Because it is my view that these two who brought this action against cabinet, and myself as an interested party, and many others, think this is a joke. And because they're friends with them, they want to make a good deal with them so that the country pays for bringing a suit. Any person who brings a suit in any country recognizes that they're going to have to pay their costs and possibly the cost of the other party.
Yeah, depending on what the court decides.
Right. So we need to make sure that this thing is widely known. It has gone unnoticed, uncommented on, and now I think it's time that I brought it to the forefront in this country.
Okay, Ms. Susan, we still have to take that commercial break now, right? We still none. We go right up until 9 o'clock. Good. Okay.
Okay. Oh, see, in February, the premier at the time called me and asked me if I would sit on the National Conservation Council. I agreed quite reluctantly because after the general election in 21, when I lost, they called me many times to sit on boards, and I said, the wounds are too fresh, and I don't think it's fair for me to come in there and disrupt a government.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't sit on any boards. Jay called me many times about NRA, OFREC, all of those. And I turned them down politely. But when she called me, it was so close to the election, I said, okay, just until after the election, that I would do it to satisfy the cabinet's desires. All of a sudden, as I didn't even know who Stuart Mailer was, who was the chairman at the time. All of a sudden, I am told that they're suing cabinet and naming me and others, the other members, who were appointed as interested parties. And I immediately consulted legal advice.
Mm-hmm.
And I was told to hold off until we see where it's going. But they were applying for a judicial review on what cabinet decision was. Now, the rule of thumb is simple. Cabinet has the authority to make decisions to govern this country. You may not like them, but you have recourse. At the end of that 4 years, you can remove them.
Mm-hmm.
These people who think that they're the only ones authorized to make decisions on the environment in this country and the protection thereof, decided that we were unfit to hold office. And our utterances in the past, or part thereof, was evidence that we were unfit. That's what they decided.
So your utterances made you unfit, nothing else?
Nothing else.
Wow.
According to them.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And we were going to reverse all that the National Conservation Council had done over the years. And what they did was took the Hansards and cherry-picked the words, cherry-picked that Hansard to make it look like I was not concerned about the environment.
Okay. How do you get the Hansard? How are you able to get that into the courts?
Well, you're supposed to
mm-hmm.
apply to the speaker
mm-hmm.
for the official Hansards. Only the speaker can approve evidence being entered into evidence. The Hansards being entered into evidence in any court. As a matter of fact, I've known of the Chief Justice applying to the Speaker for the Hansards on a particular law so that he could see the intent of the legislators.
Mm-hmm.
But these people, they just go and pull it down off the internet. And the reason is anybody can manipulate anything. But if the speaker puts the signature on it, then you know that's the official Hansard.
So if the litigation had continued, would that have been one of your issues of contention in terms of the legality of what documentation in the form of the copy of the Hansard and what you said in there? Would that have been, you would have challenged the legality of that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. As a matter of fact, the government was challenging it. But, this thing has taken a turn for the worse. And I question why I am not suitable. Now, what I need to say to Mr. Mailer and Patricia Bradley is this. For I gave to the country of my birth my most productive years. This country that I love, this country that is mine, this country that I have nowhere else to go. What have the two of you done for the country of your birth before coming here? I dare say, I would suggest that you, both of you, were nothing. You were what Connor was in Mobile. You were what Connor was in Mobile to us in your own country.
That's your suggestion?
Absolutely.
Okay.
If the reverse was true, then they would have been their country, they wouldn't have been here.
Okay.
They would be contributing to their country. Yet they come to this country and sue the cabinet, naming me as an interested party who has given all my life to my country. If they were interested enough, if their lawyers were interested enough, they could have researched the Hansards and find all of my contributions to protection of the environment. And I dare say my research revealed 11, 12 times that I debated and supported the protection of the environment. Yet they have the audacity to sue our cabinet. You think they would even reach politicians in the country they came from, much less sue the cabinet? But when they come here, we, some of us, people like this government now, put halos around these people's head, and they call us anti-expat. That's what they do. Let's be fair now, O.C. Well, I got a name for them too that they need to wear with pride too. They are anti-Caymanians. And it's getting worse and worse, and this is the tipping point. Caymanians need to pay attention to what their government did before the ink was dried on their appointment when they became members of Parliament. O.C., I want everyone to know that this is not about Arden. This could have been anybody. This could have been anybody. I did not expect to stay on that board. Let's be fair to the government. I was in the government once myself. And I understand that you do not pick people to go on boards that are opponents of yours, because obviously you have a difference in opinion, and you will not carry out the mandate of that government. Therefore, it's natural that they would remove me. But you don't do it in the middle of the case. You don't, and to add insult to injury, then you go and pay their costs and say that Julie and her cabinet was wrong. You don't do that.
How important was a court decision? And despite the fact that it would have been heard in the Grand Court, I believe that's where judicial reviews are heard, that any decision emanating from that could be appealed later on. So you may not have a final decision until, say, the Privy Council. But how important it is for the judiciary to settle this whole issue of appointments?
Absolutely. Not appointments. Forget about appointments. Let's talk about the institution of cabinet.
Yeah.
And its ability and authority to make policy for this country. It is unfortunate that this application and suit did not go to its full conclusion. That is, straight to the Privy Council through appeals and whatnot, because it would have established the authority of cabinet as to what it can do and what it cannot do. However, Andre, in his infinite wisdom, thought it was best to negotiate with these people because it appears like the reason they brought
him personally or the cabinet?
He's premier.
But
he's premier.
But
he's premier. And I've thrown the blame right at his foot.
But decisions are made by cabinet.
He wants the credit.
Collective responsibility.
He wants the credit. Now take the blame too.
Okay.
That's how this works.
But we don't want to.
We were blaming.
We don't want to mislead people in terms of
we were blaming. We were blaming Wayne for this when he was premier. We blame Jola for that. We blame Alden for this.
Okay.
We blame Kurt for that. We blame McKeever for that. But we don't want to blame Andre. Yes, he takes this straight on the chin, and all his members as well, but him primarily.
Okay.
And you cannot, like I said, in his infinite wisdom, he decides to go negotiate with these people. And of course, they're going to come and say that, it was causing disruption. It was obvious it was us who were put on the board that caused this. Now, was it the complexion of our skins why this suit was brought? Was it because we're generational Caymanians? Is it because they want total power, control over the running of our country? Yet, and they must understand, when I moved from East End to Savannah, I told my father I was buying property in Savannah to build my house. He told me, you will always be a foreigner in Savannah. You're not from Savannah, you're from East End. Likewise, they will always be a foreigner, many of them, in many of our eyes, because they are not from here and they come here and they want to control. See, stick a pen there. I'm not a social media buff, by no means. But because my brothers and friends would send me this TikTok thing, I decided to go and join TikTok. To my surprise, the young generational Caymanians are incensed about the way they are being treated in this country. Now it's time to stop it, and it's time for this government and future governments to understand they need to correct it. Whatever it takes, it needs to be corrected. People are taking advantage of this country. They're using us. And I'm not saying all now. They're using us. And I hear Franz just a while ago talking about the civil service. What about what these guys were saying on the campaign trail? That they're going to reform the immigration policies. All well and good. I called many years ago, 15 years ago, for Cayman status to be given to reserve for descent and marriage only. I called for that. I was beaten at the time. I was ridiculed at the time. But what happens when they do that now? I promise you they're going to get challenged.
Okay, we're going to answer that question as soon as we return from our headline news. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
The headline news is brought to you by Kirk Market and Health Services Authority.
Caribbean Utilities Company is hosting its 4th annual Women in Energy Conference today, described as a, quote, powerful gathering of innovators, leaders, and change makers. You're invited to attend the event, which is underway today at Hotel Indigo. U.S. President Donald Trump has said he is, quote, recommending a 50% tariff on all goods from the European Union being imported to the United States. In a social media post this morning, he said, our discussions with them are going nowhere, ! And he said the new tariffs will kick in on June 1st. The announcement marks an escalation in Trump's trade war with the EU. He initially proposed a 20% tariff on most EU goods, but halved it to 10% until July 8th to allow time for talks. And Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has launched a blistering attack on UK Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer and the leaders of France and Canada, saying that they have, quote, effectively said they want Hamas to remain in power. He also accused Starmer, Emmanuel Macron, and Mark Carney of siding with, quote, mass murderers, rapists, baby killers, and kidnappers. Netanyahu was speaking after Thursday's deadly attack on Israeli embassy staff in Washington. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
More news available at www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
Do you have a healthcare question but not sure who to ask? Contact HSA's Patient Call Center to speak to one of our experienced clinical team members. We are here to answer your questions and help guide you through your healthcare journey. Need to make an appointment? Our team can help. Contact HSA at 949-8600 or email info@hsa.ky. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, former Member of Parliament, former Minister, short-term member of the National Conservation Council, Mr. Arden McLean, talking about the judicial review process that was aborted, and his view of the whole proceedings and actually the whole issue as well. Mr. McLean.
Yeah, O.C., thank you. O.C., I was saying, when this cabinet makes decisions that, especially things like immigration reform and whatnot, I am going on record today to say that they are going to get challenge on those matters. What are they going to do then? Are they going to fight that? This has nothing to do with the individuals who occupy cabinet. This has to do with the institution of cabinet. And you must fight it with your last breath. Because now everybody, as a result of this case, can now go, or potentially can go and sue cabinet because these people were allowed to do it. And we didn't bring it to its full conclusion. Mm-hmm. It's sad. Yeah. It is sad. Is it because these are friends of of the government of the day, Stuart Mailer and Patricia Bradley? Is it because these are friends of Wayne Patton, who originally put them on the board, on the council? Wayne needs to answer that. Andre needs to answer that. Why did you use the people's money to pay these people off, pay their cost? Yet, I had incurred costs as well. Mm-hmm. Do not come to this country and tell them that because it was controversial. It wasn't anything wrong with them taking us off, but do not acquiesce to the applicants and get them to agree to abort that case. Let it go through its natural process. Now, I cannot, not in my wildest dream, could I imagine that the legal advice from the principal legal advisor to Cabinet was to Julie that what you're doing, you're allowed to do, i.e. change the board members, and within 3 months tell the new Cabinet that he made a mistake. I cannot imagine that happening. There is no way. Yet, he was put in a position, in my view, that he had to go and negotiate between his lawyers and other lawyers and the applicants to abort this case because the Cabinet instructed that be done? Is that the way this government is going to be running our country, this country, for the next 4 years? If such is the case, dark will be the next 4 years for Caymanians. They say they got a coalition for Caymanians. It looks like it's anti-Cayman that their coalition is about. And I'm not speaking about only one of them. They're all in the same pot. And they must understand that they have made this country more vulnerable by instructing that case be aborted through negotiations with applicants. They must understand that. See, I was there from 2005 to 2009. You were there with me. Or we were there together. Yeah. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. There were many things we found in Cabinet when we got there. We believed they were wrong. But Cabinet had the right to make those decisions. They weren't challenged. We worked around them the best we could. And this is not about protecting someone. This is about us ensuring that Parliament. Now, I'm going to show you something we'll see in the National Conservation Law. Section 3 of the National Conservation Law. Okay. Mm-hmm. Section 3 of the National Conservation Law says, there is established a National Conservation Council which shall exercise the powers and carry out the duties imposed on it by this law. Mm-hmm. Subsection 8 says, Subsection 7 says, subject to the provision of this law, the Council may regulate its own procedure. Subsection 8 says, Schedule 2 shall apply for the purposes of this section, and the Cabinet may amend Schedule 2 by order. May amend Schedule 2, the Cabinet. Mm-hmm. Now, for the benefit of people like Wayne, because he's supposed to be a lawyer, but you know what they say, lawyers does not legislators make, politicians make. Okay? For their purposes, and Andre, who purports to be a lawyer as well, or is qualified to be a lawyer, it is a rare occasion that Parliament allows Cabinet to amend any primary legislation. Rare. Rare. Highly unusual. Yet, in this legislation, Parliament allowed Cabinet to do it. I would venture to say if you find two of those in this country, or any country for that matter, because Parliament is the people, the voice of the people. And it's assumed you consulted with them, you're making laws and whatnot. Yet, they have now challenged the authority of Parliament. And Parliament, too, is an institution. So you do not challenge Parliament after it has been done. Only the court can make an incompatibility order on that. Okay?
Yep.
Not the members who sit in Cabinet. No, Cabinet is allowed to make regulations, but they are not allowed, because they're enabled by Parliament, they are not allowed to change primary legislation. The two of them obviously don't understand that.
Now, the schedule would not be...
That's part of the legislation.
Yeah.
That's part of it was passed by Parliament on that day, including all of it.
Yeah, I think the elections law may be similar to a certain extent, the forms and stuff like that are on there, that can be done by Cabinet as well.
Right. So very, very rare do you see it.
It's rare, yeah.
So when they now understand that Julie was in her right, Cabinet was in its right to change that schedule, yet they have acquiesced and now telling the people who brought this suit against Cabinet for changing that schedule by order that Julie was wrong. That's in essence what they're doing. Do they understand governance of this country? And the governor as well. The governor must understand. You know, they come here and they talk about good governance, and they're here for good governance. Where is the good governance in instructing the Attorney General to abort a case that has been brought against the Cabinet of the Cayman Islands? Wayne and Andre and the rest of them needs to understand they are not running a fish shop. Their decisions will alter lives and the direction of this country. And if they do not measure them carefully, they could destroy this country. But you see, they're so excited to get there and to get power that they feel this is what they must do. They need to think of the consequences of what they did. And maybe they won't listen to me, but I'm sure they're listening now, you know. You think they're not? Or somebody's listening for them. But they have now created a beaten stick for their back for 4 years. This is not about Arden. This is about this country. The same country that I gave 30-odd years to. Same country that I gave 30-odd years of my life to in service to my country. I hope they do as much and not for their own benefit. Now, I want to go to how...
I got a question before you go there, though. So you're saying that in appointing you, that the Cabinet amended Schedule 2.
Well, their argument
in order to fulfill the requirements to ensure.
Their argument is that the schedules say at least 4 need to be scientific, have scientific experience. Yet the law gives Cabinet the ability to amend Schedule 2. So the Cabinet, by order, and they did that by order. They appointed us by order.
Okay.
So that's a change as far as I'm concerned.
Okay. I got you. Yeah.
Now, the lawyers may say, no, they need to change the whole thing. But they change this, what they're asking for, the specifics. You know, interestingly, the lawyers were saying that the National Conservation Law Act falls under the Authorities Law Act. That was their argument. However, prior to that, in the other cases that Nelson was the lawyers for DOE, and we got reach DOE too. I promise you that it did not apply. All of a sudden, in this case, when they're for the plaintiffs against Cabinet, against the NCC, National Conservation Council, it applied.
Okay.
So on the 2 days before the court case was coming up on Thursday, they withdrew that section and said, really doesn't. And it's not an authority. Oh, really? Because under the authorities law, it says you should not change more than 2/3 or something like that of the members of the board for continuity and whatnot. And all of a sudden now, it does not apply. And then they come with the Publics and Standard Life then. And they were trying to apply that. So they were reaching for straws.
They were throwing everything against the wall and seeing what would stick. Okay.
And we got reach the lawyers too. And this not going to only be today. We got to fix this. Okay. Because the public in this country needs to understand. See, I spent 30-odd years in service to my country. And I can show where that I spent 30-odd years in service to my country, okay? 20-odd years, 20-plus years as a member of parliament. And the one thing I learned from my father is because I know the truth, don't think that the other person can handle the truth as well. I never lied to my people in this country. I never one day lied to them. Yes, I could have run in the last election. That is over. That is over. I'm forever indebted to the people of East End for giving me that opportunity to represent them. Forever. I will never forget that. That changed my entire approach on life. It changed my entire life. However, there are people who come to this country and try to malign my reputation and my integrity, and they need to be stopped. And I got to stop them on the air. And the people of this country got to know the truth. Now, let me move on to that. OC. If these people had done some research on me, they would understand how I care for the environment in this country. I want us to go back in time a little bit, OC, to show my track record of defending this environment that is so precious to me, and for me to pass on to my generation, the generation of my children, my grandchildren, and their grandchildren, because I want them to live the same life I live and enjoy in this country. Now, they would have found, OC, that in the late 80s, early 90s, before I ran the first time, remember I ran 92, late 80s, early 90s, Harrison Bothwell, of blessed memory, filled up the blowholes in East End with concrete and steal one of the blowholes, one that not many people know of. I went as a young man and hired the jackhammer and the compressor and went dug it out with the help of a few EastEnders, to the chagrin of Harrison, who called the police on me, and I refused to move. Who's Harrison Bothwell? He passed as a member of the National Conservation Council last year. That's who Mailer and Patricia Bradley is revering. That was good for the board. But I'm not. Okay? I'm not. I don't protect the environment. It's the color of my skin that they have a problem with. And this is pure colonialism. That's what it is, OC. Let's not pussyfoot around with it. It's colonialism. Okay? Now let's look to the next one. I told you this morning we're going to be the morning of revelations. Right? Let's look at the next one. As a member of parliament, I was told by my constituents that Ocean Frontiers was hand-feeding sharks in East End. You know the damage that could have caused to this country? I made representation to government to have it stopped. The answers will reflect that I did. Okay? It was stopped. I like Steve Broadbelt. I like Steve. Steve and I make it very good. Who's the owner of Ocean Frontier? Who was one of the persons Jolie took off the council? And what was his position? He was the marine expert on the board. And I'm not saying this to take anything away from Steve. But what I have to say, I got to clear my name. I have to clear my name, my good name. Steve was the marine expert on the National Conservation Council. Yet he was one of those who were hand-feeding and commercializing the hand-feeding of sharks in this country that I stopped. Me. The answers will reflect that I did that.
Because the feeding had also stopped at
Breakers.
In Breakers as well.
Yeah,
yes.
at the same time, tuna public. But tuna was only throwing his...
Right, wasn't hand-feeding them per
Wasn't
se,
hand-feeding them.
But the scientific advice given was that you wouldn't want to do that because
And on
then
the
it
north-
makes them more dependent upon that than foraging for themselves.
And in the North Sound, it was the same thing. We stopped it. Yet, Mailer and Bradley Lawyer, what's it, Kick Matt Dummel or something like that, put in there that, and just let me read what they had in it.
Sure.
OC. Real quickly. They said in this application the risk of environmental harm under that caption. As noted in section B above, it appears that the previous members were removed and the new members appointed in order to reduce conservation. One of the new members, Arden McLean, is on record as stating, open quotation, I am not a conservationist. I am no tree hugger, close quotation. The new members could rapidly reverse the environmental safeguard put in place by the previous construction of the NCC, meaning the other members. So Bradley them was the go-to-all, and they knew better about Cayman than anyone else. If the new members were appointed unlawfully, then the reversal of the environmental safeguard would be unlawful. The magnitude of the risk of unlawful environmental harm is very high. For example, the Bon Crep judicial review concerned a road being built through the central habitat of the blue iguana by a major political donor. Wasn't to me. The consequence of the judicial review is that the land will have to be remediated. The judicial review was found on an interim directive issued by NCC on the 27th of February 2023. And it goes on. The NCC could, following consultation with the Cabinet, remove the designation of land as a protected area under Section 12(1) of the National Conservation Act. Thus, for example, the NCC could amend the boundaries of the 7 Mile Beach Marine Protected Area so as to remove restrictions or development. So as to remove restrictions on development. That's the kind of stuff they built their application on. Everybody has missed it. Okay? Now, all they needed to do was to look at my record. Okay? Now, see, the simple things they could have done. I was elected to Parliament on the 8th day of November 2000, along with Arden, Ralston, Cam Eugene, CG, and Lyndon. We were the 6 new members. Straight out of the gate. April the 5th, 2001. Remember, I was elected in November, the year before that. Let me...
Okay, we're going to have to go to a commercial break while you before you finish that. So let's take the commercial break first. And I also want to point out that the segment from 9 o'clock, 9:05 until now was a it was a paid segment. That was a paid segment as well. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
My mom's a superhero. She always knows what to do when I feel icky. Yesterday, we went to West Bay Pharmacy, and they had everything she needed. Medicine, my favorite Band-Aids with dinosaurs, and even flavored vitamins. Mom says they keep our family healthy. I think they're magic. Don't tell anyone. I think superhero shop at West Bay Pharmacy. West Bay Pharmacy, where the superheroes shop. West Bay Pharmacy and Centennial Towers. Convenient quality care is just around the corner.
Are you craving a Miami trip? Seats are on sale now to fly in June to Miami with Cayman Airways. But just like Conks do on a Sunday, they're going fast, so don't wait to book. Miami sale fares start from just $273 CI round trip, including taxes and fees. Some conditions apply, but hurry, this Miami airfare sale ends this Saturday, May 24th. Book on CaymanAirways.com, contact a travel agent, or call Cayman Airways reservations on 949-2311. See you on board in June to Miami.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
You hear that the VEG program taking applications again?
What that is?
VEG, man! The Ministry of Tourism's program that helping Caymanians create new tourism products and services.
Oh, I had heard about that, yeah. My friend was one of the successful applicants from the last round. I might apply for that still.
Nothing wrong, child. After you got great ideas for things tourists would love to buy, try so check out the website rcayman.ky/VEDGP for more information and apply.
I'm going to do that right now.
Can you imagine your home completely organized? At Brand Source Custom Closets, we can. We specialize in designing and building custom closets and storage units for any room in your home, including the garage. With tailored designs and custom LED lighting solutions to fit your lifestyle and budget. Our Custom Closets expert is committed to enhancing the value of your home with a solution that is uniquely yours. Visit our showroom or call 623-6774 to schedule a no-obligation appointment with our design expert. Brand Source Custom Closets, 209 Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park.
My mom's a superhero. She always knows what to do when I feel icky. Yesterday, we went to West Bay Pharmacy, and they had everything she needed. Medicine, my favorite Band-Aids with dinosaurs, and even flavored vitamins. Mom says they keep our family healthy. I think they're magic. Don't tell anyone. I think superhero shop at West Bay Pharmacy. West Bay Pharmacy, where the superheroes shop. West Bay Pharmacy and Centennial Towers. Convenient quality care is just around the corner.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. Earlier I was pointing out that this entire segment of the show, actually it was to have been from 8:15. So we owe Mr. McLean about a half an hour, and we'll make that up with him with a special invite back again next week. But this has been paid for personally by Mr. McLean because he wanted to ensure that he clarified his position and also to advise the people of the Cayman Islands exactly of what transpired during this whole appointment and reappointment and removal of appointment scenario that took place with the membership of the National Conservation Council. Mr. McLean.
Okay. Oh, see, when we took that little break, I was turning to April the 5th in my response to the throne speech. Here is some of what I said. I now turn to the Ministry of Tourism, Environment and Transport to touch on the marine parks and the upcoming proposals on marine conservation, because it was promised that we would do it later on in the year. I believe the two electoral districts in this country with the most to lose are East End, Cayman and Little Cayman. East End is still considered one of the best areas to dive, to fish, to enjoy the marine life. When this conservation law came into effect many years ago, it was ridiculed and opposed by many people. Today, I can safely say it was one of the better pieces of legislation that came through this honorable House. I believe that there were shortcomings in that legislation. One in particular was the lack of enforcement. Even with little or no enforcement over those years, we have seen the comeback of our marine life. Yet we still have problems because people take above the limit allowed by law. If we can ban the taking of any marine life, it will not change if we do not enforce it. So I do not support the total ban, but I support total enforcement. Many times when I have been out fishing, particularly in East End, I've seen people take advantage of the shallow areas along Colliers and Gun Bay, where there is no replenishment zone. If I could have my way, I intend to stop that by extending that replenishment zone. If we do not preserve, we will not be able to allow generations coming behind us to experience the life that we had. I want my grandchildren and their grandchildren to live that experience too. I, being the caretaker of that now, will put whatever is necessary in place so that generations can enjoy the marine life in this country. I will not question the minister when I will not question when the Minister of Tourism bans Z-pots in this country because they are raping our marine life. We are going to ban them. Then we are going to reduce the number of pots that people can have. I cannot support going down to one, but I will certainly support 2 pots per person. We have to put enforcement in place. My proposal in that regard is to attach an enforcement arm of the Marine Department to the police station in East End and North Side. East End and North Side is where it is all left. The North Sound has been raped. It is all gone. Because we allow all the tour boats, 20 counts per day, I do think they can get, I do not think they can get any more than 20 counts per day. But when you have 200 to 300 boats, that's a lot of counts to be consumed in one day. Mm-hmm. Those who make a living off our marine life are going to have to understand that we have to slow down. We have to preserve for future generations. That was done in my first throne speech. That's only part of it. In keeping with my position of enforcement, all they needed to do was call Gina, you know. That's all they needed to do, and they would know what my position was. In keeping with my commitment to this country, immediately becoming a member of parliament, when I became minister in 2005, I renovated the police station in East End. I carried volunteers there and we painted it. I also created an office in there for the Department of Environment, for enforcement, with the intent of putting a dock out the back for them to dock up their boats. You remember this, Jose? Okay? Yeah. Not one day did the Department of Environment use it. Okay? Not one day did they use it. No. Let me read what they misquoted me on in Parliament. On the 12th of December 2013, on the same now National Conservation Law. Mm-hmm. You understand? I debated it. I also brought a piece of ironwood in there to show the then Minister Wayne Patton what ironwood looked like, because I know it. Okay? Here's what I said. The Speaker called on me. I said, let me begin by laying my cards on the table, like I have done many times publicly before. And that is that I am not a conservationist. I am no tree hugger. But I understand very well that extinction is forever. That's what I said. But to conveniently justify their application, they didn't put the rest of it in. Unprofessional, unethical. Okay? But it doesn't suit their cause.
Right. It doesn't support their argument. So
it doesn't support their argument. But I want the public to know, the people of this country to know what I said. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 answers of where I made comments in supporting the conservation of this country during my tenure. That's up to 2005, 7 or I think it was. Yet, I am not suitable. It has to be because I'm generational Caymanian, or it's the complexion of my skin. It has to be, O.C., why they would broadcast my name in the courts and damage my reputation. And I do not take kindly to it. And those who do it must understand that I am taking legal advice on them. Okay? OC it not finished. It's by far not finished. In 2020, I had so many motions to put in. You got to remember, this was after COVID, right? I had so many motions to put in, you can only put in 3.
Okay.
So I called Tuna, my good friend. I said, Tuna, I really need to get this in. So I explained to him that it was a motion on the protection of the marine environment. Listen to it, and listen to it very carefully, OC. And I want the public to listen to it and make your own determination. This before Bradley them even went on the board. Whereas the Marine Conservation Law 2013 revision was enacted in 1978 as the first step to protect the marine environment for the enjoyment of residents, tourists, and future generations. And whereas over the years, the people of the Cayman Islands have come to appreciate and accept the value of protecting the marine environment. And whereas it is recognized that the implementation of designated marine parks and catch limits in 1986 was necessary, and they have proven to be beneficial to the protection of the marine environment. And whereas in recent years, there has been widespread evidence of poaching of marine life in parks and the marine environment in general. And whereas the Environmental Fund was established in 1997 for the purpose of protecting the environment, and whereas the Environmental Fund has accumulated millions over the ensuing years and continues to grow yearly by millions, be it therefore resolved that the government considers using monies from the Environmental Fund to purchase the necessary equipment to develop a marine enforcement unit within the Department of Environment, and be it further resolved that the government considers using monies from the Environmental Fund to cover the yearly recurrent expenditure of such unit. It was moved by Anthony, seconded by me, on the 19th day of June, received in office 19th day of June 2020, and was passed by the Cayman Islands Legislative Assembly 2nd day of July 2020. Now, OC, and my fellow Caymanians, does that say that I'm not fit to sit on the board? Does that say that? All you need do is ask Gina Petrie. But when we talk about the Department of Environment, I have come to the conclusion that the threat is not from without, it's from within, and it's in the DOE. For the future advancement of the Caymanians, the threat is from on the inside. And that's in the form of Gina and John Bothwell. Okay? I am getting this out on want to damage my reputation. Let us damage everybody's reputation. You know, Paul Bodden, Roy brother, used to wear a shirt in school under his uniform. He says, stop discrimination. Hate everybody. That's what that said. Now, all we needed to do, or they needed to do, was ask Gina, how many times I called her on encroachment of the environment? How many, on that same motion, I consulted with them as to the type of boats. I did all my research and carried the pictures of the boats, the Boston whalers that the Coast Guard and enforcement use in America with the sirens. They're built specifically for the marine section of America. Gina them agreed with it. Okay? I delivered them to Parliament and showed them in there. This is 2020 when nobody was noticing Arden was carrying out his responsibilities towards his country.
So if this case had continued, would you have subpoenaed her or summoned her as a witness, even though it may,
Absolutely.
It may be what they normally
sub judice?
No, maybe a hostile witness, depending.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Listen to me, O.C. About 2 years ago, after I was removed from office, I was traveling to East End, and right there by that big house in Peasby, a backhoe passed in front of me.
I remember you telling me that story. Yeah.
And I was going east. I thought it a little strange because it had construction debris in the bucket, and it was going across the road. So I went up further where they're now building the little public beach, turned around and came back and observed. And they made another trip. So I picked up the phone and I called Gina. I said, Gina, isn't Mega Bay Pond protected by CITES? She said, yeah. I said, isn't it out to the road? I need to confirm that with her. She's the expert. So she said, yes, to the road edge, the road reserve. I said, well, there's a backhoe here carrying construction debris across the road. Can you send somebody out here to look at this? Because they're filling in the pond. And they can't be doing this. She said, okay, I'll send somebody right away. And I'll make you know what we find. Fine. She didn't call me back. So the next day I called. I said, what happened? Did you find them? She said, yeah, and we told them to cease and desist. So I said, aren't we going to prosecute them and remediate that area? So, well, we'll be looking at that. To this day, that stuff is still in the pond. Who you think did that, O.C.? Who you think is concerned about this environment so that my unborn grandchildren can enjoy it? Yet, these people come here as a submarine pilot, then go National Trust, mailer, and then now living off my country by giving tours on the Mastic Trail. I wonder if he has a business license and has gotten permission to walk over people's private property that the Mastic Trail passed through.
Okay.
I wonder.
With that question, we're going to take a commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
The Economics and Statistics Office is currently conducting the annual business surveys until June 13th. The surveys collect information to answer questions like, how did the economy perform in 2024? In 2024, how much did foreign companies invest in the Cayman Islands? The surveys include all relevant entities that produce goods and services in the Cayman Islands. The surveys are confidential under the Statistics Act and are exempt from the Freedom of Information Act. Your response matters. Do your part. Fill out and return your survey forms to the ESO. Remember, better data, better decisions, better business. For assistance in filling out the forms, or for more information, visit eso.ky or call 244-4676 or 244-4600.
My mom's a superhero. She always knows what to do when I feel icky. Yesterday, we went to West Bay Pharmacy, and they had everything she needed. Medicine, my favorite Band-Aids with dinosaurs, and even flavored vitamins. Mom says they keep our family healthy. I think they're magic. But don't tell anyone. I think superhero shop at West Bay Pharmacy. West Bay Pharmacy, where the superheroes shop. West Bay Pharmacy and Centennial Towers. Convenient quality care is just around the corner.
Your dream home starts with a vision, and often inspiration is at the heart of that vision. Brand Source Home Gallery's in-house designers are here to help bring your vision to life. Whether you're remodeling or building a new home, Brand Source Home Gallery is your one-stop solution. Explore their kitchen cabinets, sinks, faucets, bath fixtures, tubs, vanities, and more. Let Brand Source's designers help and inspire you with your next project. Call 623-5000 and schedule an appointment with a design expert at Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, serving Cayman for 50 years.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. We're on this last segment. Now, of course, we're going to have Mr. McLean back at another time because we, like I said, it's paid for and we still have some time to make up as well. Two WhatsApp messages. This one person said, could it be the cabinet just decided to change the appointees? So stick a pin on that. Then the person says, personally, I wish they had kept, the ones that were appointed. They obviously couldn't have kept the speaker because
he had to resign.
Speaker.
He had to resign. But here we are.
The person also said that I agree the challenge was wrong. They shouldn't be able to challenge the decision of cabinet. And one more person has sent in a message saying that the next case that the government will withdraw is the compulsory acquisition of red spot, the Fisherman's Bay red spot.
Well, I can tell you what. I hope Kenneth listening because he better call in now and clarify that one. He better. But OC, the fact that they are saying that we are unfit to serve is not only devoid and of any sense or logic, but it's an insult to Caymanian society in general, and everyone should be offended by it. OC, they were being dishonest, to use part of what I said in Parliament, a statement covered by parliamentary privilege, no less, to make their case that I am biased and that somehow extends to affects everyone else that cabinet appointed. Is this even rational? Even if I had said, if what I had said meant what they say it means, how in the world does that implicate Gilbert, Ezra, Steve? Are they suggesting that we are all biased? Was that it? You see how unprofessional this is? And we got to talk about the unprofessional behavior of the lawyer as well. Writing me and calling me Arden. I stopped that. I put a stop to that too. Caymanians, you all need to stand up, We are losing, and let me apologize now. Maybe I did too. And I take full responsibility. In my 20-odd years, and I told Kenneth this the other day, I said, Kenneth, we are losing our country. You're more concerned like me about making laws so everybody can make money and live good. And in the meantime, I am partly responsible. So too is Alden, Ralston, all of us. We lost sight of what was going on in our communities. We did, OC. No one can be blamed for that but us. And if Kenneth wants to call in, he knows I told him that. We have a responsibility to be holistic in our approach to our country. And these people are taking you over. I know which side I'm going to be on. You all, Ezra and I tried. But to think, here we are, Ezra Miller's unfit. Yet he has been elevated to the third highest position in our country. And he can't say when the environment is being damaged or not. Are you kidding? And the most senior lawyer in our bar in this country, Steve McField. Honestly, man. And these people are challenging it, bringing in QCs. You know how much money we are going to have to pay them for their QCs and lawyers and whatnot? And it's this government who did it? They need to be beaten with barbed wire.
Okay, we have Mr. Bryan on the line. I just need to remind we're going to have a hard break at 10 o'clock. I can't go beyond 10, as well. So, Mr. Bryan, good morning. We understand you're on the line. Mr. McLean invited you to call in.
I don't hear anything.
Good morning, Mr. Connor, and good morning, Mr. McLean. I'll be very quick because I understand it's a paid show, and the member needs his closing remarks. I want to fully thank him for coming on and talking about this matter. As you heard me say, and I'm speaking from the member of Georgetown Central, not a member of the Progressives now, because this matter resolves to the past administration, and I was a cabinet minister. To be honest with you, I'm insulted by the fact that there's a suggestion that we were wrong when the Attorney General himself advised us that we had absolute right to do what we did. And the mere fact that the government pulled this does cause the concern that Mr. McLean has talked about. I am now more worried about Red Spot downtown, which is a high possibility that the members who are now in charge was not in support of that, so they may pull the compulsory acquisition of that piece of land. There's a bigger picture here to talk about. I intend to talk about it on the show, but I just want to thank Mr. McLean because he's right. He's raising the alarm of these types of actions or inactions on behalf of the holistic government, and I'm concerned about the other members within the cabinet because we're only here speaking about Andre, but I need to know where all members of the cabinet feel because they were the ones that have the authority. There's collective responsibility, but particularly with the National Party and the TCCP, are they all in agreement with this type of approach? I think we have a missed opportunity here to actually make the courts decide where the power truly lies because it's being tested every day and we're not willing to challenge it to protect our people because the elected arm is the reflection of our people, regardless of when it is. Now, they have the right to change the board when they came in, but they should have let this case go out so we could have had a precedent set. I'll continue on another show, but I just want to thank Mr. McLean for coming on, and I fully support his position. So I'll leave you guys there.
Thank you very much, Mr. McLean. I want to give you some final comments because we're going to continue this discussion next week as well.
I realize that, but let me say, right, what can I say? Oh, see. You see that Kenneth, Bryan there? He has come a long way.
Long way. Mm-hmm.
I know that when Arden and I went in there, we were like peas in a pod. And one governor called us young Turks. But we advocated on behalf of our people. If you think Kenneth Bryan has not moved in leaps and bounds, listen to them. Okay? Mm-hmm. And obviously, he's no lawyer like me. We're not lawyers. But we like to say that lawyers are the ones who are supposed to be politicians. Nah. A lawyer does not a politician make.
Okay.
All you need is a beating heart and thoughts for people to be a politician. I have moved on from that phase of my life, like I did with other things. But that's not to say, and the government should take note of this, all of them, like Kenneth say, that's not to say that my mouth has been stopped. And you all know that I do my research. And there's not one lawyer that I have talked to since this case was aborted that agrees with it. Because they have all said what Kenneth just said. We should have come to a conclusion as to what Cabinet's authority is. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And this set of wimps that we have in here are friends, which points towards corruption. Corruption is not only taking money, okay? It can be turning a blind eye to your friends and what they do too. That is corruption. And there's more to deal with that I need to deal with because people like Gina, that lawyer, and Bothwell needs to answer to me. Bothwell went, and I can give you a snippet, Bothwell went and instruct lawyers on our behalf when he shouldn't have. Anyway, we coming back at
Yes. We still have some time to give you, so we're going to do that next week. Folks, I want to thank all of you. I welcome you to join me at 12:15 for Talk Today. Of course, we're talking about hurricane preparedness as well. We're, a week away from the start of hurricane season as well. Have a great day, and please stay safe.
From Radio Cayman.